So, Pastor Rodney, it's come to my attention that you claim to have miracles. You and Debbie Rich claim to have miracles, and it's always financial miracles. Those aren't miracles, bro. A miracle is something that defies the laws of physics. Oh, you don't know about physics. You're a doctor, but you don't understand. Okay, object permanence. Object permanence is something that a baby learns at about age 2. Before the age of 2, if you give baby a baby toy, and then you take it and you put it under a blanket or you hide it behind the wall, the baby won't look for it because it doesn't understand object permanence. But once they get about 2 years old, they start to realize that objects don't disappear. And if you give them a little baby toy, like a little rattle, right? You give it to them, and then you put and hide it under a blanket or right next to them behind something, they'll start looking for it. Because objects don't just disappear or appear. That would be, like, for example, a miracle, a real miracle would be in Acts chapter 8 when Philip disappeared. I almost said Stephen. A miracle would be if you have a water bottle that's this full down here, and you come back 5 minutes later and it's this full up here, and nobody added water to it. It was a miracle. It defied E equals MC squared. Do you know what that is, Pastor Rodney? It basically means energy and mass. Energy equals mass. It's part of it. Times the speed of light squared. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. So anytime that God defies the law of physics, any law of physics, then you could say it's a miracle. So, for example, to have supernatural energy, like when Elijah was able to outrun a horse. Okay, that would be actually a real miracle, because to outrun a horse, you'd have to eat a massive meal, and then you have to stop and carb up again somewhere along the way. But to have a bunch of people who give money to the church, now you could say God moved supernaturally and we had a supernatural offering. Or you could even be more specific and say, I had a need of exactly, this happened to me back in the day. I don't call it a miracle, but when I first got saved, I wrote down the amount of money that I was asking for my motorcycle that I had for sale was $1,449. Well, I didn't get that amount. I got like $1,200 for it. But I sold a bunch of other stuff, and when I counted out the money, I had exactly $1,449. So I was like, whoa. Now, I didn't think it was a miracle. I just thought, what a crazy coincidence from God. That's not a miracle, but it is a supernatural thing in that 3 weeks before I wrote down $1,449 what I wanted. And then when I sold the motorcycle, I only got $1,200, but I was okay with it. And then I sold a few other things. And then when I counted the money, it was $1,449. Completely unplanned. Is it a miracle? No. But is it something God did supernaturally? Yes. So stop calling financial provision a miracle. Now, if somebody gave you a gold coin, and then when you looked again and there was 4 of them, well, that you could say that's a miracle. You're a false teacher, Pastor Rodney. And you know why you guys claim miracles? Because you don't actually have real miracles. And the reason you claim miracles is the same reason you call yourself a doctor or a world-renowned evangelist. You use the word world-renowned. It's to exalt yourself. And that's why God gave you a Satan face. You're a false teacher at the end of the age.